They said the ocean ended where the sky began. That beyond it lay nothing but death, a mouth that swallowed even the bravest sailors whole. But I never believed in endings. My name is Kofi Alassane, navigator of the Mali Empire, born under the golden sun of Mansa Abubakari II, the lion of the river. I had seen the Niger flow like veins through the land, feeding cities built from red clay and wisdom. We were the children of Timbuktu, the scholars, the sailors, the dreamers. But even the greatest empire is not free from the pull of the unknown. When Mansa announced his plan to sail west beyond the edge of the world, people called it madness. But to me, it was destiny calling from across the waves. The year was 1311, and the empire was rich, gold dust glimmered on every hand, and salt caravans stretched across the desert like endless serpents. But the Mansa hungered not for gold, he hungered for knowledge. He summoned the best of us, shipbuilders from the Niger Delta, astronomers from Gao, and sailors like me, whose hearts beat with the rhythm of the tide. He said to us, "If the Nile flows without end, if the desert has no walls, then why must the ocean have a boundary?" We built 200 ships, carved from the trunks of sacred trees, their sails woven from white cotton. Each ship carried seeds, grains, and families, for this was not a voyage of war, but of birth. We were to seek the lands that the sun kissed last each day. And on the day we departed, the Mansa stood upon the shore, his golden robes shining like the dawn. He raised his staff and said, "Let Mali's spirit ride the wind. Bring me the knowledge of the other side." The drums thundered, and our sails caught the breath of the gods. The sea opened before us, blue and endless. The first weeks were kind. We followed the stars of our ancestors, the same constellations our scholars had mapped in the sand. We laughed, sang songs of home, and believed the ocean would carry us gently to new shores. But the sea is no friend to certainty. On the 21st night, the wind turned fierce. The waves rose like beasts from the deep, roaring with hunger. Ships disappeared into black walls of water. I remember the screams, men calling for their mothers, women clutching their children, the wood splitting under heaven's rage. When the sun rose, only a few ships remained. We had crossed into a realm no man of Africa had ever known. Days turned to weeks. The stars began to shift, no longer the same constellations of home. We drifted westward, guided by instinct and the memory of the Mansa's dream. Food grew scarce. We learned to catch flying fish that leapt across our decks and drank the rain that fell from silent gray skies. Many gave up hope. Some cursed the emperor for sending them to die. But I could not. Deep inside, I felt that something awaited us, a promise hidden beyond the horizon. And then, one morning, I saw it. Land. Dark green mountains rising from the mist, rivers sparkling like silver threads, and birds screaming with life. We fell to our knees and wept. We had reached the edge of the world, and it was alive. The air was thick with the scent of flowers and unknown fruits. Forests whispered secrets older than mankind. We built shelters of palm leaves and lit fires that danced like stars beneath the trees. But paradise hides its fangs well. The nights were filled with strange howls, not of beasts we knew. Serpents of impossible size slid through the undergrowth, and insects stung with venom that burned for days. Still, we endured. We planted the seeds of Mali's soil in this new earth, millet, sorghum, and beans. We taught our children the songs of the Niger and built drums from hollowed logs that echoed across the valley. Our black skin glistened in the golden sun, and I wondered if, one day, someone across the sea would see our fires and know we had arrived. It was months before we met them, the people of this new world. They came from the forests, their faces painted with earth, their eyes bright with curiosity rather than fear. We called them the river people, for their villages floated upon wide streams that shimmered under the moonlight. At first, we only traded beads for fruits, salt for feathers. But over time, we shared stories. And to my astonishment, I found familiar words in their tongues, echoes of Mande rhythms in their chants, patterns of the drum that mirrored our own. Could it be that others before us had crossed these waters? Had the ancestors already walked this soil long ago? Years passed. We grew strong, building a settlement near a great mountain we named Sunu, meaning the guardian. But the harmony did not last. A sickness came from the marshes, fever that took the young first, then the strong. Our healers worked tirelessly, grinding herbs, burning incense, praying to the spirits of the ocean. I buried my wife beneath a tree that bore fruit shaped like the sun. Her name was Abeni, and her last words to me were, "The ancestors brought you here for a reason. Do not let their song fade." Grief nearly broke me, but in pain, I found clarity. Our journey was not about reaching a new world, but about ensuring our people would never be forgotten. The world changed again when strangers arrived, pale-skinned, armored, carrying iron that gleamed like lightning. They came from the east, their ships larger than ours had ever been. They spoke tongues we did not understand and carried crosses of metal upon their chests. They looked upon us with the same disbelief we once held for the horizon. We were not the first to meet them, but I saw in their eyes both wonder and greed. They did not see brothers, they saw land, gold, and dominion. And I realized, with a weight like thunder in my chest, that the peace of this land would not last forever. I am an old man now. My skin bears the salt of two oceans, one crossed, one remembered. Our children speak both tongues, that of Mali and that of this land. They tell stories of two suns, one that rose over Africa, and one that set over these mountains. I write these words in the sand by the river each morning, knowing the tide will wash them away. But perhaps one day, another will write them again. They will say, before Columbus dreamed of crossing the Atlantic, we had already done it. We had sailed beyond fear and named the stars that guided us home. We had lived, loved, and endured in a land that the world thought unreachable. We were not lost. We were the beginning, and if the world has forgotten us, the ocean has not. Every wave still carries our song. The song of those who believed that the edge of the world was just the beginning of another. When I close my eyes, I hear the drums of Mali echoing across the sea. I see Mansa Abubakari standing on the golden shore, smiling at the sun that never truly set. And I whisper into the wind, "We found the other side, my king." And though our names fade from the stones of history, the spirit of Mali sails forever. The ancestors live in the rhythm of the waves. And I, their witness, leave this truth to the generations that come after. We were here. We endured. We became the forgotten architects of discovery. We were the mind of the ancients.